All right, folks, here it is again. Charlie Barley back at you with another video. If you guys checked out the last video, I was speaking about my top student who's on the phone with me right now. He's going to be speaking in just a second. But in the last video I produced, I talked about he took a $200 bankroll, took it up to $3,200 in 30 days. Now, the reason why he didn't do that in one day is because that's not how you defeat the game. Okay, you defeat the game in time, but you got to know what you're doing. But this gentleman has done it. He's been extremely consistent, and then, as I said, I was going to bring him on to do an interview so that he could tell you about his own experience. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Sam. What's up, Sam?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Now it wasn't that. See, I gave you that amazing introduction, and then you come with the "Hey guys, what's going on?"
Ain't much to say about me. It's all about this game. It ain't much about me.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, Sam. When you think about it, like, did you really think it was real? Because it's still taking me. Like, I know I've done it and I could do it. You've seen me do it, but to see other like you do it and other students do it, when did it click in that, man, this is real?
Well, like I told you when we first talked, the very first time we talked, which was back the end of June. I think I started the mentorship like July the 1st, but we didn't talk to the end of June. And I knew you had it figured out then. But whether I could figure it out or not, even with your help, there was a lot of times I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
You know, this game changes so fast. It's so chaotic. You know, you got that little Einstein thing in the back of your mind. This game can't be beat. Nobody's done it. But I can sit and watch your videos on YouTube where you're trashing this game. You're not beating it. You're trashing it. You know, you're just picking what you want to bet on, and it's like, you know, you're making it happen. So I knew you had it figured out. But for me to figure it out, I really didn't know. I didn't know really until, I don't know, a couple of months ago. Mm-hmm. When I said, okay, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. You know, you're still struggling with it. You're still, at that point, you know, I was getting 4 a day, but sometimes it would take hours, you know, just struggling with it, just being wrong a lot, you know, just being wrong, studying way more than I played, you know, way more than I played. You have to.
Right.
If you ain't going to study, you ain't going to get it. I mean, you told me everything I needed to know. And it still took literally months of study before I could see it, you know, even though you was telling me how it worked.
And you know, but as I said I don't know if you saw the last video or not, because I just posted it. But
I seen it yesterday.
The part where I talked about before, I showed in the email. Because the thing is, a lot of folks, you don't know what you don't know. And some people just... it's hard to believe it. I get it. It's hard to believe. But I showed in the email when you first came in and from the point since you were practicing. But what I did not show them was when you were sending me text messages remember you was doing that for maybe 2 months before you started sending me emails.
Right. Yeah, it was about 2 months.
Or maybe a
I
month.
didn't know how to work a lot of spreadsheets or anything like that. I was actually handwriting all my results in a notebook. I'd write down every spin, what bet I would make next, see if it hit. If it did, I'd put a win beside it. If it didn't, I'd put a loss. Man. Take a screenshot of it on my phone, send it to you every day.
There, man, and
I've done that a long time.
Yeah,
a long time before I finally learned to use spreadsheets and things like that, because you told me it would help. So I need to learn to do that. So YouTube being my best friend, I got on there and learned how to do not a ton, but what I needed to do, and then I was able to email you spreadsheets.
There you go. And ever since then, he's been cooking. That's the reason why I showed what you're doing. I have another interview coming up with Amal. Amal is on your tracks, bro. Like, Amal is doing, I mean, he's not on your tracks, but he's just only doing what you're doing. It finally clicked in. The last video that I sent, of course, I'm not going to speak too much about it, but I talked about spikes.
Sure.
That video that's like the nail in the coffin for
that's a huge factor.
Huge factor. When you get a feel, it's just like playing any sport. It's like You just get a feel for it. But here's what I want to do, man. I'm going to ask you about 8 questions, and so that way we can stay like real focused, so I could have people really understand that whether you are, because you're going to speak to the students and those who are not in it, but because we're not going to be here long, obviously. But the thing of it is that I want people to know when I talk about freedom, financial freedom, it still baffles me that I found it here. So what I want to do is ask you 8 different questions, and I want people to really hear you out. If you guys did not see the previous video of the screenshots, he took a now he's doing his own thing, but we just did a random test just to show the screenshots of the progression of them. It's just amazing at what this does. So here's the first question, right? Number 1. How did you do it? I mean, it's so hard to the things that I think that prohibits us from being great really is ourselves, and
it is absolutely ourselves.
So talk to me.
I can't tell you how many times I got in my own way.
Jesus,
I stayed in my own way. Mm-hmm. You know, I stayed in my own way for sure.
When you say that, what do you mean when you say you in the way?
It's not just. It's habits. Habits is the biggest problem we have, even as everybody, especially in this country. We have such a habit of, look at marketing. It markets everything. Oh, you need a new truck. You need a new house. You need check out this new furniture. You know, hey, go buy this new burger at Burger King, whatever. You know, and you get in the habit of, well, I've got to have a lot. Mm-hmm. And that's a big factor. That's a big factor that got in my way in the beginning. I see it still getting in some of the students' way, is they think they need a lot every day. Oh, I need a lot. I need a bunch. I need a lot. And you don't need a lot. And when you slow down and you realize that, and you run the numbers on it, and that clicks in your head, that's huge. You say, okay, let me just slow down, because you can do a little bit every day.
Yeah.
You can do a little bit every day. You can't do a lot.
You can't do a lot.
You can't do a lot. This game will give you some, and then it takes it away. And it gives you some, and then it takes it away. Well, you have to learn to stop after it gives you some. Don't play through the take it away, because it's going to take it away. Then it just costs you a lot more time.
Right. And
take it when it's giving it to you, and then get out of there. And a low goal, a small low goal. And you up your bets from there. Now, that small logo.
Now, when we say that, here's the only problem with the small logo, and it's actually going to take me to the next question, is that no matter if you have small and low goals, if you do not have a solid plan of action, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You're not getting anywhere.
You're not going to get anywhere.
You're not getting anywhere. You can't just jump all over the place in this game. I see this happening, let me jump in here. See this happening, let's jump in here. You're going to find yourself down, usually way down.
Right.
You have to have a plan. You have to study. The main thing, you have to study and practice that plan until you're good at it. And then that plan will work to you if you stick to it.
Yeah. Talk to me, and without giving up too much, the true. My next question is, how powerful is flat betting, and why is it the only way to truly know if you've defeated the game? And I want you to not talk too deeply on it, but about what I call the limited variable system. Like, if you can flat bet and be a winner, why is that the litmus test? Because anybody can do a progression and win a few, but that's the way literally.
But you have huge losses with a progression. You're going to hit them huge losses. It's coming.
It's coming.
Progression works until it don't work. And then it usually breaks you. It breaks you. It'll take, for a big progression, will take days or months of wins away from you, weeks worth of wins.
Yeah, and a
loss or two. That's terrible. But with a flat bet, it's not like that. You're only betting one unit. Whatever your unit is, it doesn't matter. But you're only betting one unit. So each decision you make is either right or wrong, but it either makes a unit or it costs a unit, one or the other.
Right.
Once you practice and study and learn what you're doing, you're right a lot more than you're wrong.
And the
losses, the flat bet makes the losses disappear. It just, I'm not going to make a flat bet of $20 and lose $1,000. I'm not going to do that. It's only $20,
Yeah.
That's the whole key about flat bet. The flat bet's ultimate. That's the ultimate thing. That's the end all be all as far as any system's concerned.
Yeah.
If I can't flat bet it, I'm not going to play it. Period. If I can't flat bet it, I'm not going to play it.
Mm-hmm. Right. The only thing I'd say about progressions is, as I always say, is that it does nothing but the only way that you would do it, and the software that I'm developing does require that, but the only reason that it requires it is because of the time. And
right.
That's the only thing.
That's running it in the correct place.
In the correct, there you go. You have to know what that is.
You can't take something and every time you see whatever, I don't know what, just pick whatever you like to progress, whoever you are.
Right.
Every time you see your little trigger, you jump in there on a progression, you're going to have some wins, sure.
Yeah.
But you're also going to see some big losses. It's inevitable. It is guaranteed.
Yep. It's
going to happen. If it didn't happen, the casino would not allow you to run progressions.
That's right.
They allow it. So it's going to happen. Flat bet's not like that.
Nope.
But if you want to start cutting time, and you put the progression in the right place, it has to be in the right place.
In the right place.
Man, if it's in the right place, which I, up until 2 weeks ago, I strictly flat bet. I didn't run any progressions.
Right.
This whole 30-day test I done was zero progressions.
Zero
it was
progressions.
Straight flat bet.
Right.
Straight flat bet. I could have done faster than that each day, not per day, not the whole amount, but I could have gotten 4 a day faster by putting a few little short, small progressions in the right spots. I could have been finished faster with that every day, of course. But they better be in the right spot. If they're not, that can cost you.
It can cost you. And the thing about playing minimally, it sounds easy until you have to be diligent and focused and consistent, right?
That's right. That's right.
That's the reason I say you end up beating yourself at the game. Here's my next question. Why do so many, speaking of failure, why do people, there's a lot of different reasons, but I just want people to hear it from you. Why do people fail at the game of roulette, and including students and non-students?
Most of the students are failing just not enough study and practice. They're playing more than they want to practice while they're playing, and that doesn't work. You have to put in study, and when you find something that you think is happening and you think you're right, and you think, I figured out what you're telling me, and I've studied the game enough to start kind of seeing it, then I have to practice it. And when you practice it, be honest, a lot of times when I thought I seen what you was telling me, I only seen part of it. So when I practice, I would see losses in practice. Mm-hmm. That's the reason I'm not playing, because I could see losses. If I'm right, if I'm not 100% right, I'm going to see losses. So I need to practice it to see if I'm right, to accumulate the losses in practice, not in play. And then study further. And that's what a lot of people aren't doing. Mm-hmm. I fell for that a couple of times, especially in the first couple of months. Oh, okay, I see what he's saying. And jump in there and run a practice of 300 spins, and it destroyed me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I'm glad I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I thought I seen it, but man, was I way off. I'm way off.
Yeah. It's the variables
but lack
move.
Of study and practice, that's the biggest factor. Lack of study and practice. As far as people that's not in the mentorship,
sure.
The biggest problem is they don't have a real plan. They just have a progression that works. Let's say 90% of the time. Let's say you have a progression, and there's somebody right now sitting at home arguing with me on this video that's saying, my progression works 90% of the time. Good luck recovering them losses. Because 90% on a progression is not very good.
Yeah.
It's not good. Hey, if I win 90% of the time, that's 29 days out of the month. I win $100, but my progression's $2,500.
Yeah.
That ain't good. That's not good. And that's only when I go to the casino, which most people don't go every day. They're going twice a month, 3 times a month, whatever, So at any day, I can walk in and put $2,500 on that table, and I'm going to wait till I see what I need to see. I'm going to run my progression, and I can have a loss any day. I can accumulate 3-4 losses in a row in a day.
Right.
You're broke. You're broke. It happens all the time. We see it. We see it at the tables all the time. People just destroy themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes I'll watch them get up $2,000 or $3,000 with it.
Yeah.
And I'm in my mind, I'm sitting there, I'm saying, get up, cash out, and walk away. Cash out and walk away. Man, please cash out and walk away. If he won't or she won't, they will sit right there and go straight back to zero, pull more money out of their pocket, and go again. I see it all the time.
Yeah. It's
a shame. It's a shame.
This goes back kind of to your point of how we see how we've been marketed to, how the world is.
Yes,
it's just,
absolutely.
we are creatures of our environment, and our environment doesn't teach us. It's like I said, when I look at money being exchanged in any kind of way, I look at it as a transaction, a business transaction.
Yes.
So it's like,
that's how we look at this roulette.
That's how you look at this.
We don't call it a bet or a spin. It's a transaction every 45 to 60 seconds, depending on what table you're on.
That's it. And so when
it's a trade, it's a transaction.
When you understand the variables that create those transactions, that's when you start breaking down the game. So let me go to the next question here. What are some major factors that's needed to play beyond the play strategy to win consistently? Because obviously the key here is consistently, but you have to have a really good, not only a good play strategy, but what are some other major factors beyond just the X and O strategies that you need to win consistently?
Restraint. A ton of restraint. Because when you jump in a game and you see it start just giving it to you, and you know, I mean, some days we have games where it'll give me 4 and 7 spins, and you just, it's giving it to me today, but I'm not going to chase it to 20 because the game changes. Yeah. People don't see game changes. That's a big factor. You have to know that this thing changes. It changes, and it changes fast. You know, it doesn't change one time an hour. It could change 40 times in an hour. It changes fast. You know, if you jump in and you're up 4 units and 7 spins, walk away. Restrain yourself. You done great today. I don't have to play 2.5 hours today.
Right.
Done great, you know. So restraint's a big factor. And restraint also falls under patience. You know, sometimes when it's not giving it to you, you have to be patient on the flip side of that. You know, I don't want to play every spin. You play every spin, 99% of the time, you're going to find yourself down.
Right.
You know, you can't calculate something that fast.
That fast, right.
I can't make calculations every 45 seconds and even be right most of the time. You know, you're going to be wrong most of the time. So that falls under, I guess, kind of restraint too. But patience and restraint goes together. Yeah. Other than that, man, I don't care how good your system is, study it. Yeah. Study it. There's a lot of things on roulette that work. You know, I mean, some things are progression, some things are whatever. They work. Like you say, they work till they don't work.
Right.
But learn where they work. Learn when they work.
Yeah.
Learn how often they work. And the biggest factor is learn how often they lose.
Good one.
Man, that's huge.
Yeah.
Learn how often I don't care what system you're using in the world. You can come up with some crazy something on your own that you got the money, got a big old bankroll, big progressions. I can run it out there 12 times. You know, sooner or later you're going to lose because we know red can go 32 times. We know black can go 25 times. Right. You know, even a dozen. There's only 3 dozens on the board. That thing cannot spin a certain dozen like up in the 20s. Yeah. Just gone, you know. So if I see dozen 1 and dozen 2 pop in, and I just decide, okay, I'm going to bet on dozen 3 because it hasn't showed up in 3 spins, 4 spins, 5 spins, whatever. I better have 30 progressions because that thing can disappear a long time.
See, that's where people fail. People think, oh, man, I had a good week at the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, even if you had a good week, bro, you got to have a good year.
Yeah, that's the key. That's
right. Just because you got to be consistent. If it wins for 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight. I had one student, man, I ain't going to say a student, but a guy who was, he was communicating with me before I had the mentorship program. He had built up his bankroll, God, man, like I want to say maybe up to maybe even 10,000. And and he was doing progressions and different things like that. But of course, you know, he didn't understand that if you don't know where to play it, you've got to be, you, as you said, you got to have restraint. And
Right.
surely he went for
Well,
2
that
months
also falls under study. You
understudy.
need to study. You need to study your system. You need to study and say, okay, and practice. You need to practice it. Don't go study it on a table. Practice it. You know, hey, okay, let's see. All right, I'm looking at about 15 to 20 wins, and then all of a sudden this thing beats me. How often does it do that? How often are you going to see 20 wins before a progression beats you? Not very often.
Yeah.
You know, you may see it win 6 or 7 times and it beats you. Well, that could be something you might want to study into and take a look at, take account of. You know, take a look at that.
Man, those are
I'm saying too much. But it just, I don't care what you play. That's the kind of thing you need to be looking at.
Okay, let me bring them down a little bit.
Let me show a little restraint here.
Let me show some restraint. Bring it down, Silver. All right. No, but what, you know, I was gonna say though is like it's just the example of one of the. He's not a student, but he went for maybe 2 months and he was having a lot of success. Ended up blowing his bankroll, and that's just the thing is that when you don't know where.
Right. It could happen any day.
It could happen.
Any progression you run, it can bust you. It can happen.
See, permutations. Sure. The thing about permutations is that the game is it's like a wheel, and when you don't know where you are in the cycle, no matter how good the strategy is, if you don't know where you're at, there's a lot. It could happen anytime. That's the reason why you gotta. Not just study it, but you got to know, because you could study wrong too. You got to know what to study. You know what I mean? You got to understand that part of it. All right, so let's go to another question. Based on your study of economics, we always talk about the economics of business, stocks, and this financial system. Based upon what you know about economics, time, and money, well, this is an easy question. What financial system? I know. What financial instrument? Because this is what gets me, can perform better than the game of roulette?
Nothing. That's a simple answer.
Okay.
Nothing.
Don't lie.
Business.
Stop lying to the people.
No. There is no business. I've been a business owner 20 years. There is no business that can do this. And I don't care. I don't care what you look at. Look at Walmart. Let's talk about Amazon. Making billions a year. How much do they spend of that to keep Amazon running? Billions a year.
Yeah.
So you look at the ratio of it. Whatever the investment costs, let's say it costs $10 billion to set up Amazon. Is it going to make $1 billion a day? Of course not. That'd be 10% a day. That's insane. Mm-hmm. But here on Roulette, I've got a bankroll of 40 units, and I do 4 a day. Well, that's 10% a day compounding. That's 10% a day. There is no money market. There is no stock market. As far as I know, that's interesting. I may look at that. But as far as I know, there's been no stock in history that done 10% a day for even 40 days. Something like that. I mean, there's some things that's taken some jumps, but to be consistent every day, I don't even think there's a single stock that's ever done that. Ever. I don't think it could.
Yeah.
Too many variables. Too many variables can affect it.
Yep. And
all it would take was one day in there to drop 20%.
Just not even.
You're way down.
You're way down. Yeah.
You're way down.
Yeah. And
so no, there's nothing anywhere close to this. Nowhere. Nothing in business. McDonald's doesn't do it. McDonald's don't make 10% a day of what they're putting out or what they have. They're not making 10% a day. Right. Nothing. And that's some of the best businesses in the world. Mm-hmm. You know, that's crazy. You catch a really good, I know some of the best stock traders, the best stock trader for Merrill Lynch in the United States, period. And he can't make 10% a day. You're talking about 15 to 20% a year is fantastic. 10% is great. Mm-hmm. You take average mutual fund, 10% a year is great. Yeah. 10 to 12. Man, that's great. That's a year. I'm doing 10% a day.
Right.
I can't even compare to that. I actually removed money that I had in IRAs and stuff. I was willing to pay the penalties and the taxes on it and just be done with it because there was so much risk involved.
Yep.
When I can turn 10% a day on it.
Yeah. Now,
no, I'm not going to leave it in that system.
Before we go further, let me say this to everybody. When he's saying 4 units a day, there's a few things. Let me say this real quick. Number one, that's conservative for him now. But number two, don't think that you can just do that.
No.
It's not as it's easy.
It sounds easy.
Yeah.
It sounds easy.
Yeah.
And at this point, it is easy.
It is easy.
But the road between where I started and here today, it's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of tears. A lot of tears.
A lot of tears. Yeah.
A lot of tears.
Right. It was some tears. But
now I will say this: no huge losses. No, with this flat bet. I mean, when I started, from the time I started playing on a table, which wasn't immediately. We done a month of study before I started playing on table.
Mm-hmm.
And some days and you started me at 1 a day, not 4 a day. That's a big factor too. Started me at 1 a day. Yeah. But I mean, even then, sometimes it take me a long time to get up to that 1. But there's never been a day I was down.
Yeah.
Flat bet, I'm up every day.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I talked in interviews before, I've set 3 and 4 hours to track the table before I got on it.
Right.
To get one, the dealers used to laugh at me. I'd go down there every day. And I had a certain dealer, if he was there, he'd laugh, "Hey, man, you here for your $5? Yep. And he told me, he said, "Man, I feel bad for you coming this far. I'd have to drive an hour to the casino every day."
Yeah.
He said, "I feel bad. I want to just reach in my pocket and give you your $5, let you go home." I said, "No, that defeats the purpose."
Yeah. Yeah. It's really education, folks. And it sounds simple, but you have to have the knowledge. And the thing about the knowledge is that even if you were doing 1 a day without proper knowledge, if you lost consistently, or because that happens, man, I'm telling you. And the reason why that is, folks, the reason why it's on the surface difficult to even do that is because the game is built to equal out. Okay, it's equal to balance itself. It's built to zero. So you've got to know the permutation. You got to know everything about it to even do that. And that's the only reason I even did the mentorship program, because it's common sense. I mean, you've all heard of that. You make a penny a day, and in a year you got $1 million type thing. Well, yeah, but how are you gonna find that penny every day? You know what I mean? How are you gonna double that penny every day?
Penny every day.
You're right. You got to double or however the compound is. That's the hard part, and being consistent. And that's where, when you don't have proper training and knowledge, no matter what system you have, over time the game is built to defeat you unless you understand the variables. All right, so let me go to the next question. You kind of answered this, but it's not roulette. As I often say, it's a financial instrument, and it's not a game. But I guess you kind of answered it. I was going to ask you, why should it be taken seriously? And obviously, because it's real money.
It is real money.
But I think, can you just talk to people about getting out of the idea that you're at a casino having fun?
That's a tough one.
Oh, God.
Really is. That's legitimately a tough question.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Because that's a part of getting in your way.
Yeah. A lot of people, sure. That wasn't tough for me. I don't have a lot of gambling in me. I'm looking at risk and but sure, we've even had some students that had a problem with that. I had one I was talking to, and he told me, he was like, "Man, my only problem is when I'm playing online, I forget it's for real money." And that almost gave me a heart attack. I'm like, "What? How do you forget it's for real money?"
That's crazy.
Yeah, sure. But I mean,
so
that's something you have to keep your eye on. You have to know that every time you bet, that's coming out of your pocket.
Yeah, it's real money.
Man, you have to. I'm gonna be honest. If you've got real gambling problems and you're either gonna make 20,000 a day or go home with zero, this ain't for you. Don't come over here and expect, oh, I'm just going to study this thing for a week or two and then jump in and make my 4 a day and be rich next year. That ain't going to happen. I don't care how well you see it. You're going to jump your flat bets too fast, and as soon as you do, it's going to get you.
Yep.
Just because you're betting too much, not too many times in the time you're playing, but just too much money for what your bankroll can handle. You know, because it will swing a little bit, but if you're looking at 40 units, you're fine in a bankroll. But man, you start cutting down to 10, 15 units, stuff like that, and have a bad run and then get a little scared. I've seen that. I've seen that with some students I'm talking to. They up their flat bet and they've only got 15 units, and they kind of read it wrong in a spot or two, and something grabs them for 7 or 8, and they're down that far. Oh man, I stopped. I stopped because I've only got 7 units left. Why? Why did you jump bets up like that? Why would you? Mm-hmm. There's enough risk involved with this game. Why would you start risking? You're just compounding your risk is what you're doing.
Oh, wow.
But people do it. They start compounding their risk. They start getting too aggressive, not only with their money, but with their decisions. They start trying to jump in there too many times, too quick, bunch of bets back to back. Well, you're just compounding risk. That's all you're doing. You can't calculate it that fast.
No.
I think that's a big factor with people too.
Yeah, man, you really are. You've given the audience a lot of jewels, and I
just know where I've messed up.
Yeah.
That's it. I know where I've messed up. You give me the information from day one. That's what's scary. You didn't drag it out. You gave it to me from day one. I just had to study and research and practice and make sure I was right and make sure I understood it. The understanding was the biggest part.
Whew. Man, all right. So here's my next to my last questions. We're going to wrap it up. All right. So right now, I think you're on track for a lot, but in the next year at the current pace you're at, where do you think you'd be financially within the next year from now on this current pace you're at?
I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even begin to look at a number, but as far as financially of looking at where you'd be financially, there's no question. That's a scary question too. That's a scary question because I've been through so many changes in my life and my thought process of even about life, not just about the money and roulette, but this thing has changed my mentality so much over the course of it. It's just unreal. Probably after a year, to be honest, I think I'd be slowing myself down. It was just become so much. Yeah. I don't need that much money. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know where I'd spend that much money. And then you got to spend it again next year. And you have to spend it again the next year. And the next year, I have to, I'm only in my early 40s. I've got to spend that money for 40 years.
What do you...
I'd definitely be totally free. I could do anything I want. There's no question. Jobs just completely out of the picture. Don't need a job, don't need a business. I have no idea. It's scary. I have no idea. I really don't. I can't even answer that question. That's kind of spooky.
Well, I can give you an idea of the track, the track that you're on.
Yeah, you probably run the numbers. I haven't.
Well, yeah. The thing is, right?
I know you've run the numbers. You run the numbers on everything.
On a year, if you from that 30-day continuing your based on what you did, continuing the compound.
Yeah, just for a day. I know it was $2,600 or $2,200 and something, right around there, $2,000 something in 30 days. But if you keep compounding it,
32.
I know it's 60 days. It's unreal.
Yeah,
60 days is way up in the thousands. Just at 60 days.
Yeah, 60 days, way up in the thousands.
Like 20-something thousand, almost $30,000 in 60 days.
Right. My whole point.
I can't imagine a year.
You man, listen. The whole point I'm expressing here is when you're building a business, you build it brick by brick, but you gotta know how to lay the brick. right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
you
You got to have foundation first.
you got to know how to lay a brick properly.
Yep.
It's not
That's
just
correct.
about just throwing some bricks up. No, you've got to know how to lay them properly.
You're not going to go build somebody's house for them if you ain't never laid a brick.
Right.
You're going to apprentice under somebody for years before you're able to get that
Before
license.
you're able to get that license. And the thing,
know?
and that's the reason why I say practice, because you don't want that house to fall. Like, that's the whole point of not knowing what you're doing. It seems like it's up, but one good wind comes and next thing you know, it's crashed. That's the whole point of understanding I was thinking about doing a video called the limited variable principle. Not so much teaching you how that works, but it's almost a physics thing too. How I even kind of derived to that, and what makes this game create the patterns that it do for us to always win.
That's funny that you mentioned that. That's a huge factor that nobody even considers.
No, it's
The physics. The physics
yeah.
of it. That wheel has to perform a certain way to be in service.
Yeah. It has
as far as I'm going with that, but
yeah, leave it alone. But you're right. It's it's inevitable, basically. But
yes, that's correct.
We're not gonna. That's the whole point of patience. Is when you know what you're doing and you have a limited system like roulette is. The only thing you really need outside of a good strategy is patience.
Patience. That's right.
That's it.
Right. I mean, you're right. You're right. The restraints for yourself. The restraints for yourself is to make yourself get off and get out of there. You know, everything else is, great strategy and study it, learn it, know it. That's a big factor. Know it. Don't just learn it. Know it. Inside and out. Know when it wins, know when it loses. Know all the factors of it. And then other than that, it's just patience. Because it has to happen from there. It has to happen from there. That's a huge statement too, but it has to happen.
Mm-hmm. It has to happen. It's that's one of the reasons why in that I say you can't beat the system that I've created, because the game is limited, people. It can only do so much, and that's where your patience kicks in. Well, anyway, I'm not going to continue to hold you long, man. Let me just tell everybody I'm in the process of developing it's gotten so good to where I'm going to have a software. I'm in the process of developing it. It might take me a few more months to really get it solid. If we don't have it solid, I'm not going to talk about it now, but Sam and I and another one of the students are going to be doing something else to help the market. Obviously, it's nothing like the mentorship program, or at least having the knowledge. So, because you get to keep that knowledge forever. It's just that I'm about to close it down, unfortunately. It's good for who it's good for, and it's just not.
Yeah, the ones that it's good for is great.
It's great for.
That's just the people it's not gonna work for. They're going to get in their own way and not let it work for them.
Yeah.
That's all it is to it. You know, if you're diligent, you study, and you're going to practice, then it's going to work for you.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's not just me, but you've got me, you got Amal, you got a couple, the Erics, you got a few other people who know and we can help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you're getting in your way because you don't want to, inconsistency, no matter how great you are, no matter how great of a ball player or football player you are, if you're only showing up to half the games, the whole team loses. So right. It doesn't matter how good you are with your knowledge. Are you fraudulent? Are you a person who's not going to be consistent? All those things is what factors into that house being built. So a lot of the things that prohibits people are themselves, and that's one of the reasons why I'm stepping away and creating more of a system, a more calculated system. Now, let me tell you about the software. It's going to require patience. So if you're not if you're an impatient person and you got to make $1 million today, don't even bother with it. The software is 100. Like my test on this,
Yeah, that software is going to be 100%.
it's
Money,
100%.
but you still got to restrain yourself and sit there with patience until it tells you what to bet.
Well, I think it is that the way I'm looking at how this is working, it's just going to tell you you can't play until it tells you can play,
Right.
and you might have to sit there until and the only reason that is because it's positioning you. The name of the game is permutation. So permutations come, they go, but you got to know the frequency and how often they move, blah blah blah. So that's one of the reasons why the patience part is going to be important when you guys decide. I mean, when we do come up with it, I'm going to open up and leave the mentorship thing open for just a little while longer until this is built. We've got some other things that's still in store for you. And what I'm doing by keeping it open is because I got to pay for the software. I got to hire a programmer, and that software is going to cost some money. And but the mathematics behind it is pretty much solid. Like I said, I got another maybe another 10,000 or so spins I'm gonna test. And when I say test these people, I'm not saying there's some type of automatic calculation. Like I literally go spin for spin, and I look at these patterns for 10,000 straight times.
Yeah, the study's real study.
It's real study, right?
It's not throwing it in some, they got some roulette testing software and all this stuff. It ain't that. When we study, we're watching every spin.
Every spin. And you're looking at what happened. You're looking at the pre and the post of what happened before the spin so that you can understand the nature of the game. Well, anyway,
That's right.
I'm not going to continue holding you long, man. We are doing great things. It's just been a pleasure. It's as I often say, I feel like it's a calling because it's one thing for me to do it. It's another thing for me to teach someone to do it and then watch them do it and be consistent. And that's just an amazing thing. So I appreciate your time, brother, and I appreciate your diligence toward it. And any last words for you, bro?
A lot of words, man. A lot of words. Just first and foremost, I appreciate you way more than you could ever appreciate me, man. Yeah, I mean, this is all because of you. This ain't no part me. All I done was put in the study and the practice and took what you said and figured it out and pushed on.
Yeah.
This is all you. This ain't something I came up with. This ain't something. I'm not no scholar. I'm not no genius. None of that. I just done what you told me to do. I've done it.
Yeah.
And that's all people have to do. That's all they have to do. I'm amazed that we don't have people beating your door down trying to get this. Really don't.
They don't know what they don't know. See, I was telling that to another guy. It's like when you don't know what you don't know. See, this is not marketed to people. This is not marketed on the commercials. You don't see this in a magazine. You're not going to see it in the newspaper. So this is not something that it's marketed to people since you've been born. And you don't know what you don't know. It's a game. It's
marketed as a game
that most people lose at.
It's gonna beat you.
Right.
It's gonna beat you. It can't be beat.
There you go.
But it's all about perspective.
That's it.
And the marketing is also all about perspective. It's how they sell it to you.
Yep.
It's perspective.
It's a financial instrument.
Thinking that way, they can beat you from now on.
From now on, and especially when they give you free liquor, And
sure, go in there and drink all you want, as long as you're sitting there spending money. Them drinks are free.
Yeah.
No, they're not free. They're costing you.
You know what's funny? What I learned about Las Vegas is that it has a high homeless crisis out here. I mean, it's a lot of homelessness. However, what's the city of Las Vegas recently, they've put in some type of ordinance where they're trying to quote unquote clean up the street, but their way of cleaning it up is by sending people to jail. Okay. Now what
up anything.
Well, what it is going to cost taxpayers more money,
sure,
and so they're just going to build a bigger jail, maybe create more, I don't know, free labor out of people.
More room, it's relocations,
all of that, and then you get
off the street, so it's pretty.
So it's pretty, but the thing is, it's going to cost us. But
it's costing you.
half the people who are out here on the street are people who looked at the game. I don't know if it was roulette. It might have been blackjack. Who knows?
Sure,
But
yeah, a lot of things.
they
Sure.
went there with the gaming mentality and they got blown out and they lost it all. I have students who've come to me who said, I'm down $20,000-$30,000 playing roulette. So it's real out here.
Playing roulette.
Stop playing it.
roulette.
And you know, my thing was to him is that, does Tiger Woods, when he goes into the tournament, the only time he practices is when the tournament is on? Like, he doesn't wait to the tournament.
Not.
Like, no,
he practices more than everybody else. That's the reason he's that way. There's some natural talent, of course, but I guarantee you, if you broke down how much you practice golf and how much Tiger Woods practice golf, he probably practices more hours a day than you sleep.
Or work. Yeah.
Or work, exactly. You know, I guarantee you he's putting in more work on that golf course than you're putting in at your job.
Yeah. And then
he's not going to stay where he's at.
And then people wonder why they're not professionals, why they're not good at something.
Sure,
well, you got to study it. You got to practice it. And if you don't do that, I mean, what more do you expect in anything? If you took a job, even if you got hired somewhere, they're going to give you training. That training's probably 30 days, 8 hours a day for 30 days. I can guarantee you most of the students who come here do not practice nowhere near that.
Oh, no.
But they expect to be just as profitable as a Tiger Woods.
Yeah, no, it's not. It just flat out, it ain't gonna happen.
It's not.
It's not gonna happen. There's been a lot of times where I come in from, like I said, I run my own business, so I'm kind of on my own time. Usually 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm done and home because I start early. And I've seen times where I've sat down on my laptop at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and look around, just, find something I really want to study into. And this game, when you get to looking into this game, it is super intriguing. It's amazing what it can do.
Yeah.
And what it can't do. But there's several times where I look around and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm still sitting here in front of a laptop from 3 that afternoon. 11 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't played a single hour in that. I need to jump on and play a little while, get my 4. And I'm 2 in the morning, but I've studied in so deep that you spend that many hours.
Yeah.
And a lot of these students want to spend an hour a day studying and an hour or 2 a day playing. And that's a terrible ratio. That's terrible.
Right. But
play an hour, you need to practice 4.
That's the mentality that causes them to lose. And when you have that kind of mentality, it transcends into other areas of just not the game, but your life.
Oh, everything.
Everything.
Like I said, I've been through so many changes. It's unreal. Just my own mentality.
Yeah.
Just so many changes. It's unreal.
I'm gonna tell you, man. The flat, when I introduce, one of the reasons why I'm done, folks. I'm done. I said I was done with the interview, but let me just say this real quick.
That was 20 minutes.
That was 20 minutes ago, right? But when I first started mentorship, I was showing people progressions, all because I understood the lack of patience and how you have to change your mind. When I started doing flat bet, for me, I can't tell you how many times I wanted to punch the wall because the restraint and patience that it has to wait for the game to move in a certain direction, sometimes, unless you got, and I think that's what's going to happen with the software. The software is just going to tell you, it's just going to say hold. And I guess if there's someone in your corner saying, just don't do anything, it's a little different than when you're by yourself.
Sure.
And there's no one to say stop.
Patience comes a little easier.
It comes in a lot easier when someone's there, got a gun in your head, say, man, don't you move a muscle.
Yeah, don't touch nothing.
Don't touch anything. But and that's where we're going to help you. I mean, we could do that now and even in the mentorship. But the thing about mentorship program, it's reliant upon you a lot. Literally.
It is. The kind of person you are and the kind of habits you have. And I promise you, I don't care how you are or who you are, it's going to change you.
Yeah.
Now, I was a patient person anyway. I was a patient person. Years ago, I counted cards and blackjack. Man, that created so much patience in me. I may sit there and minimum bet 7-8 hours before I get a good count. And when you get a good count, you're only going to get 3 to 5 hands. And some of them you're not going to win.
Yeah.
So that's when it counts. But, man, man, I already had patience, and this thing's built so much more patience in me. It just, like I said, I don't care who you are, it's going to change you.
Yeah,
it's going to change the way you even see your own life. It's going to change.
It brings you face to face with yourself, and you will see instantly, wow, if I had to just held off, just restrained myself. And but you know the reason why we don't have patience, we don't have knowledge. Like when you know the game, when you know the X and O's and the patterns and the movements of the game, that's when you know, okay, I see why I can be patient.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It actually creates some patience as you gain and as you grow in knowledge.
As you grow in knowledge,
sure.
You'll see why you need it, and you say, oh, I get it now. I really get the limited variable permutative style of the game, and when you understand that, you know eventually Tom Brady's going to throw it to the right side of the field. It's just going to happen because there ain't but so many left sides of the field he's going to do. So it's coming over there. Believe that.
It's coming.
That running play, it's coming.
It has no choice.
It has no choice.
No choice. It's coming.
Right. It's coming over there. So it's like, hey, you just kind of hang out, and you have your safety over there. Do you wait for it? And anyways, I'm not going to continue to talk, man. Thank you again to everybody who's interested. Still, like I said, I'm opening it up. I don't need everybody. At this stage, it's not about even really needing a whole bunch of people because I'm not going to continue the mentorship on the way that it is currently. But I'm using it for those who have the aptitude and can just be diligent and practice and do those things. We've got great people who could even help you out once you get in, and it's not even so much of a strategy that will get you. You're gonna find it's gonna be you that's gonna get you. And I will even say this: thank you, DeAndre. I just had one of my older students who I haven't heard from a while. He sent me an email, and I got your email, just hadn't responded. Been real busy. Holidays coming up, so I'm doing a lot. But he even said to me in this email about how he's gotten in his own way, and he apologized. And it's stuff, I get it. I get it because you have that coming to Jesus moment where you say, wow, it's something in me that just makes me want to gamble. And that's that part I can't unteach. And it's like getting that part of you out of the way is what brings you to the point. Man. It's like getting that part. It just brings you. But anyway, guys, listen, if you want to join, there's still room. There are people who are capable of it. What I'm doing right now is building the software. If we don't end up with the software, if I find out that maybe it could be decoded or something, then what I'm going to eventually do, and you'll like this, Sam, is we'll probably create a site where you could just log in. You'll pay a fee, obviously. You log in, and for the next 3 or 4 hours, you'll have nothing but updates from maybe 4 or 5 different online websites that's playing the game in real time. And so if you're not on Bovada, you may be on 5 Dimes or you may be on the other one. I may do a situation where you just come in and you'll see where any of those games are, and it'll tell you, okay, hold here, or if it's ready to move, jump here, and this is what you need to do. So it's like I'm building toward that. It's not going to be anytime soon. It's nowhere near the education. You're not going to be educated at all. So if I do decide to just eliminate the software, then you're going to be SOL on that. That's one of the reasons why the opportunity to learn is still open. You don't know what you don't know, so you may be frightened about it. I had one guy who just recently sent me an email asking, he said, oh man, I want to be a part of it, blah, 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 blah. And then he sends me, and I said, hey, give me a call, and give me a number. He says, well, before I give you my number, I just want to make sure this is not a fraud. If you're listening to this guy, you will never speak to me.
Yeah.
I'm not running from any. I've been here for 3 years. I have solid proof of what we're doing. And if at this point people still think that, then just don't waste your time with the emails.
If you can look at all your videos and all your knowledge and the past live play videos you've done and all these screenshots and interviews and all this stuff, and you still think it's a scam, this ain't for you.
And you know what's true? It
ain't for you. It's not for you. You're not going to make it anyway.
I'm going to tell you something.
Your character's not going to let you make it.
It's not, Sam, but guess what? The thing is that if you, and I have another guy who I'm going to interview, his name's Manny, and Manny's not even a part of the mentorship thing. Manny said to me, and he's going to say this in an interview I'll do, he said, if you really study everything that's available on the web, on the YouTube channel for free. If you're that kind of person, you could actually pick up everything I'm saying.
Sure.
You really could. But
it's going to take a ton of study.
It's going to take some study.
It's going to take a long time, too.
And that's the reason why people pay for education, because they don't have time to figure out how to be a doctor on their own. You know, they go to school and they pay to get educated. But here's the thing about education in the public sector. There are no guarantees on your knowledge. There's no guarantee on your knowledge.
No, sure not.
You know, the knowledge is just what it is. But
well, everybody's educated the same in the public.
In the public, right.
This mentorship's different. This is tailored personally to you. I mean, they're going to be able to call and talk to you on the phone when they need to.
Right.
You know, or me. I mean, we have some students that call me on a regular basis. You know, hey, man, I've run across this. Okay, let me see it. Let's see what we can do.
Right.
You know, let's see why that happened.
Right. So there's no one, when you finish paying for that $100,000 education and you still can't get a job and you still have to pay back that 100. See, that's a permutation that has a minus effect. You just gambled.
That's a down index.
That's a huge down index. You just took a big gamble. Now you have a job. Now you're in debt. You have liabilities, and you think you're doing well. You have $150,000 in student loan debt for a job that makes you $35-40 grand a year. And the loans are paying. You have to pay that with interest too.
Yeah, sure. They never go away. Or
you have a business, and God knows I had over $250,000 of debt.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, once you think, I'm you know, business is performing well. Oh, that's good. But how much time do you have?
Yeah, and how much are you actually putting in your pocket?
And how much you putting in your pocket?
Yeah.
Oh, I put $1 million in my pocket. How much time do you have?
No, you didn't. You grossed $1 million and you put 130 in your pocket.
You put 130.
You know, because that's what it takes to make that million.
It's what it takes.
You know, so much overhead, employees, all this stuff. I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And then you got liabilities. And even if you are like an owner of a company and you don't work, it's the liability that you got to calculate risk with.
Sure.
Yeah, I always tell people when they come to me with business plans and stuff like that, first of all, I don't even do business anymore. But if I do invest into a plan, unless you can show me every area of risk, and no business can normally do that, I generally don't invest.
Yeah, I don't know of a business that can calculate everything.
But my point in showing them that is when they come to me is to show them that you've got to get smart about your time and money.
Yes, absolutely.
And it sounds crazy, but Roulette just done it for me. I don't know of anything else with 36 variables that are constant. And even those.
I don't know of anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, just on that level, you could start anything you do, even a job. You might have a job that you'd had for 15 years, but the level of risk, whether it's money or time, is still there. And for the most part with a job, it's the time.
Yeah,
it's the time.
It's going to be time.
It's going to be time. So it's like, all right, what's your time on earth worth? Well, $25 an hour. Well, okay, you sleep 8 hours a day, which means for that 25, you're doing what again? Oh, I'm going to a job. So what is your life really about?
Man, I've done some calculations the other day on actual how much, people say, I just don't have time to do that. Man, you run a calculation on how much time you really don't have. You figure up how many hours a week or a year that you work, figure up how many hours a year you spend eating, sleeping, sitting in front of a TV, whatever. Figure everything up, and you tell me how much time, how many hours you have in your life. If you live 70 years.
If you live 70 years.
You tell me how many hours you actually get free time to live and do what you want to do. That number will scare you.
Scare you. Man,
it will scare you. It's nothing. It's like 3 to 4% of the hours that you're here on Earth you actually have free. 3 to 4%. And when you actually run them numbers for yourself and look at them, you will start changing your life.
People, the more I hear us talk about this, I really want you guys to understand, man. There's opportunities of, and even listen, you don't have. I'm financially, I could stop this now, and I'm gonna be great forever,
Yeah, you're great.
forever. it's not even about, you guys got to understand something. Whether you do this or not, or you don't ever have to even click this video or even click on my channel. But one thing you've got to understand is that whatever you do in life, it's all about calculating your risk, time, and money. The better you can do that, the better you will be served in this world. If you cannot do that adequately, do not complain about the life that you have. It is what it is. So you've got to understand these things. You're talking to a person who spent, my business, I went over $250,000 in debt. I was 250 stack in debt. And this was before, this was before I ended up going, I ain't gonna say homeless, but when I was homeless, quote unquote, it was because I had to get rid of the debt. I had to figure out a way to cut down the cost. I'm like just going myself into a hole. And then it just dawned on me, like, the only reason I'm losing is because I don't calculate well. I don't calculate well. And time and money, all of those things are calculations. And if you don't understand that, no matter what it is that you do, you're going to be chasing the rabbit forever. And I just really want people to just be free. And you could really be free. And whether it's through roulette or through any other apparatus that gives you the highest percentages of being free financially. With that said, listen, guys, email me permutationspro@gmail.com. The website, permutations. Oh, continue to subscribe on the channel, because once I take this down, the only thing I will have is anyone who subscribed. And when I start doing the software or doing other things, I'm not going to be announcing it on YouTube. That's just what it's going to be. So you have a window of opportunity to get with me, or whether it's through the mentorship. Oh, and also those strategies, the single play strategies on Permutations Pro, they work very well, but they don't work all day long. It's just, imagine having one good running play and trying to run that play for 4 quarters in a football game. It's not going to work.
Study them. Got to study them. Still got to, they work, but you still got to study them.
You're right. And you got, right. And the thing about it is delineating risk. The best way to do that is to play sparingly. And even doing that, when you don't know where you are in the permutative part of the game, you can still get bit by a single play strategy, even though they work. What makes people fail at it is that they think that they could just do that all day. It's just crazy how people think about it. But it still has this inherent risk because you just don't know where you are on the scale. But everything's coming off. Continue, just go register, become a subscriber. That way, when I do take everything down, I can send you subscriptions to it. If you're interested in any of the programs, permutationspro.com is where it's at. If you want to do the mentorship, once I'm not going to talk about what Sam and I have on deck outside of the software. That's going to be coming up in December. So we'll talk about that later. But there is a little more time here. I am in the process of getting a software. So far, the test has been 100%, like no 98, 99, no, 100%. And so that's how good it's been. And so all that's coming up the pike. Sam, thank you again for the time. We've reached over an hour. I hope that this interview has I'm sure it's enlightened people. There were a lot of hidden gems that you've said in here.
Yeah, didn't show enough restraint.
Yeah, you didn't. But the thing of it is, it doesn't matter. I understand. You understand what it takes to know and learn it. So even though you said what you said, some of the things, even if people caught on to them, you still have to know what you're doing.
You gotta know what you're doing, and you gotta put a ton of study and practice.
And you still got to study. So with that said, guys, take care. And just remember, man, time is of essence, man. We don't have, we only get one life on this earth, man. Don't live it as a slave. I don't care to whatever it is. Don't be a slave to it. Take life by the horns. Take charge of your time on this earth, man. I just lost another family member, man. 11-year-old cousin. So my cousin's 11-year-old. He just died of asthma. You know, I'm 42 years old.
Lose a niece?
Yes.
Oh my God, man.
So it's death, man. Listen, man, it's imminent for everyone, and it's happening to you, whether you're a child or you're adult, whoever it is. You know, don't wait until you're dead to figure out the game.
Your time's limited.
Your time's limited, man. And as I said in the other video, God has a way of speaking to us in different ways. Just feel it and know it, and then move on. I don't care what it is, whatever your gift and calling is in life, do it and be it. The only thing we're doing here is just trying to show you a financial way to help you be free to do that. That's all. But your calling and purpose in life, whatever that is, you need to be on that. That's what makes this world great, is when you know who you are. When you don't know who you are, you're going to continue to live this life hateful, mad at the world, hate to go to work. You don't like your job. You're just mad. And I get it. But be free. Just be free, guys. Anyway, I'm done. I could talk forever. Thank you again, Sam. Till the next time, take care, guys. We'll have another video coming shortly. Now my thing's broke. Hold on. I can't even shut it down. I think I spoke too long, Sam.
Might have.
Oh, here we go. There we go.